Hey, welcome back. So the question comes up, what brought you to the Philippines? What brought me to the Philippines? Obviously, right? I sure didn't swim. Okay, as many of you know, I got married here in February of this year, 2024. Um, I was here until the end of March. I flew back to the US. I did my liquidation. It took me approximately 2 months. I got back here at the end of May. Now I live here permanently. But what brought me? Well, number one, uh, my late wife, who I was married to for 13 years, she was a Filipina. We lived in the U.S. entirely that whole time. But during that time, we started making plans to retire in the Philippines. She hadn't been home for many years, and by the time she passed in 2021, she had not been home in 15 years, and so she was starting to miss it. But there were some factors that made it to where we couldn't get here at the time. We had plans for the next summer, September of last year, to actually September of 2022. Sorry, I'm a year off. Wow. We'd planned on coming here in September of 2022, and we were making plans for retirement here. I planned on retiring when I was either 68 or 70, somewhere in that period of time. That would have given her enough time to work in the U.S. to where she could collect Social Security. And so between my retirement, her retirement, we could live comfortably. We had bought some property in Laguna province. Her sister lives there, and some of her family. And so we'd planned on moving there. But when she passed away, I'm not allowed to own property, so the property reverted to her sister. Now that I'm here, no, I still can't own property. My wife currently can, but we're not in a position to do that, and I'm not going to go take property away from somebody. Just chalk it up as a loss. But we had planned on coming to the Philippines. So the Philippines was always on my radar, and part of the reason is it's much less expensive to live here. I'm in our new house. It's a rental, okay, but it's a nice house. The rent on this place is so much less than what you could get in the U.S. In fact, a studio apartment uh, back in where I come from would be almost twice as much as what we're paying here. I'm not going to go into the numbers. That's kind of a personal thing, but it's well within my budget. It's at the top end of my budget, but it's still within my budget. But we also have the condo in Pasig. If you go back and see my videos, you know that one. So we're still paying on that. That's around 350 a month, 20,000 pesos. But we travel back and forth on the weekends. We have church activities and things in Ortigas, uh, Pasig, and we go back there for the weekends for those activities. So it gives us a place to land until the end of August when our lease is up. Then we will relinquish the condo back to the owner, and we will just have this place. It'll be a lot easier financially on us. But the cost of living in the Philippines is so much less than the US. This is supposedly an English speaking country, unless they don't want to. So, whatever area you're in, whether you be on Luzon and they speak Tagalog, or like now we're in Pampanga, we're technically in San Fernando. We're basically Telebastagan. It's the north end of San Fernando, south end of Angeles City. Um, yeah, we're in that area right now. There's a lot of people that speak Pampang. Okay, it's a different little bit of a dialect. You could go to Iloilo where they speak Ilocano. You can go to Visayas where they speak Visaya. So, depending on where you go. English is known. English is somewhat spoken, unless they don't want to. Now, one of the problems I have with uh, this family and friends, they all get together and they just automatically revert to Tagalog. And I'm trying to learn. I know enough to where I can follow along in conversations until there's like three or four speaking, and then I just get a nosebleed and yeah, I get lost. And then I ask, can somebody translate, please? And they're pretty gracious about that. But out of habit, they speak their native tongue. So, yeah, English is somewhat of a prominent language here. Some people say, oh, yeah, all the signs are in English. Not really. There's a lot of Tagalog words that are on billboards and things. The news, I try and follow the news because of what's going on right now with China and the Philippines and the U.S. and Australia and yeah, anyway, the West and China, whatever. There's some things going on, so I try to follow the news. There's some other things happening locally. I try to follow that. There are a couple of stations that I've found, a couple of channels on news feeds that speak English or Taglish, and I can follow along enough to find out what's going on. So you've got that. What did not bring me? Traffic. But I can say that driving in Pampanga is a lot better than driving in Metro Manila, except for yesterday. There was a bad accident. I was going to pick up my wife. She'd gone down to Metro on a P2P, that's point to point bus. I dropped her off at SM Clark, which is all the way up in the northwest section of Angeles. And I dropped her off there. She caught a P2P. She went down to Metro Manila. A good friend of hers is getting married. She's going to be on a 90-day fiance visa, the K1, K2 visa. She will be leaving the Philippines soon. She's the one that I bought the car from. And yeah, I've been driving the car all over the place. Love that little Honda. Thank goodness it's so narrow, it's easy to maneuver. That little 1.5 liter engine, that's plenty peppy enough to get me out of some situations. But there was a really bad accident on Pandan Road because I had to go to Marquee Mall to pick up my wife and my stepdaughter. Some trike had tried to cut between traffic from the shoulder, and he'd gone through. He wasn't all the way out of the road. There were a lot of cars passing on the shoulder because, you know, they're more important than us fools that just sit there and stop traffic, right? Yeah, it's Philippines. Do whatever you want, right? There's no consequence until this happened. Car clipped the back end of the trike, pushed him across traffic into the path of a motorcycle coming the other way. The motorcycle hit the front of the trike, flipped him out over the handlebars onto the ground. Another car hit both of them. Yeah, it was a lot of carnage. It was 45 minutes to go 3 kilometers. We had to work our way around that. And also when the trike got hit, it pushed it back into the car that the trike was cutting through. So there were a lot of involvement there. I don't understand everybody's impatience and their narcissism. That's one of the things that frustrates me here. If people would just relax, everybody take a turn, traffic would flow so much better. And Pampanga is a lot better for that than what Metro Manila is. Metro Manila, there's no rhyme or reason to most of it. You got narcissists, you got people trying to give way, you got people running in the back of each other because one person's trying to give way, you got a narcissist running in the back of them. So it's the Philippines. You know, as a foreigner, I try to be extra cautious because any accident, it's my fault. So I try to not drive between the hours of 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. and between the hours of 3:30 p.m. till 7 p.m. Those are the busy times. So anything between 9 and 3, we're good. Yeah, okay, 9:30 to 3:30, whatever. We're golden on those hours. Like when I took my wife and my stepdaughter up to SM Clark, it was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Zipped up MacArthur Highway all the way to SM. dropped her off and zipped all the way back. No hardly any problems. But when I went to pick her up, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It was an hour and 15 minutes to go 9 kilometers. So figure that one out. Sometimes it could be frustrating, but anyway, but the people here, for the majority, the people are really good people. I have met some really nice people. We had a misunderstanding on this house when we rented it. We're in a gated community, and there was nothing in the contract that talked about us paying the HOA fee. The owner came back to the agent, says, hey, they've got to pay the HOA fee or they're going to get kicked out. The agent and I and Christine, we all looked at the contract and says, we don't see it. Well, we worked it out with the owners, and they agreed to pay the HOA fee. Again, you don't get upset, you just work it out nice and smooth, and now we're all friends. I've invited the owners and the owner and his wife to come by and visit anytime. You know, we could become friends. You know, I'm sorry that the misunderstanding happened. You know, for 1,200 pesos a month, I'll pay it, but there's a matter of principle there. If they don't have it in the contract, again, you know, so do your due diligence. Anyway, that's what brought me here to the Philippines is a better lifestyle, lower cost. I'd say the weather, but we're in the rainy season, and all day today, when it rains, it pours. And this isn't even the heaviest of us. It was raining really hard a few minutes ago. Calm down a little bit now. Out here on the lanai, back porch, whatever you want to call it. At least it's covered here. Still pretty noisy. The old saying, when it rains, it pours. Yeah, it's raining now. But for the, I don't know, 6-7 months, they didn't get any rain. They were in El Nino, and that's dry season, and that's a longer than normal dry season. And yeah, the Philippines was drying out really bad, so the rain is needed. But sometimes when it rains, oh my goodness, I've never seen it rain so hard like it did this afternoon, like it's done several other times. Yeah, I mean, it just like buckets at a time, and it just flat comes down. But it happens, and we're going into a La Nina, which is wetter than normal season. So let's hope that balances everything out, and all the reservoirs in the mountains, all the rivers, all the wells, all fill up again, because the Philippines was getting to be short on water. They're not used to dry, like what I come from, a dry climate. Okay, so we have water conservation efforts, and the Philippines have never had that. So anyway, hopefully that's all solved. But okay, so leave your comments. What would bring you to the Philippines, other than a Boeing 777? Really, I mean, cost of living, it's not dirt cheap, but it's a lot cheaper than the U.S. The people, just some of the best people I've ever met. It's in certain areas, it's a better lifestyle. It's quiet. This subdivision we're in, it's like a tomb at night, because this is a working class neighborhood. And I'm not talking trike drivers and jeepney drivers. I'm talking these people are working class, middle class people. And yeah, the dog just jumped up here. She's getting used to being in a lot of room here. We've got quite a bit of room here for her, so she's happy to run around. But anyway, this working class neighborhood, again, a gated community. It's not cheap. You know, we're not paying 8,000 pesos a month like some single people are. I've got a family of 3. Okay, we have a 3-bedroom house. We could have done with a 2-bedroom, but this house presented itself. It's fully furnished. Again, furniture here, not the best in the world. In fact, these drapes will be, you can see they're pretty threadbare. Somebody's had a cat here before, I think. We've got some more drapes. We're changing drapes out as we go, a little bit at a time. We're going to be here at least a year, so we don't have to be in any big hurry. Take our time. Okay, guys, I'll catch y'all later, and you be safe, and we'll catch you on the next one.